An FMLA event form is completed whenever an employee is reporting an absence related to an FMLA qualifying event. It is important to understand that employees who provide notice need not actually say the words FMLA and need not know what FMLA is. Instead, it's our responsibility as employer, manager, or supervisor to be on the lookout for these events. It's our job to ensure the benefit is provided impartially to eligible employees. Have you scheduled manager and supervisory training with the FMLA team at TASK? If not, contact them at fmla@taskonline.com to schedule or check with your HR team to locate and review the recorded training materials. To indicate FMLA, employees provide adequate information relating to their absence to their employer. Details included must indicate that a qualifying event has occurred for their own illness or injury preventing work, due to bonding or care of a new child, to provide care to a family member, to address events due to a family member's armed forces deployment to a foreign country, or to provide care to an ill or injured service member who is the employee's blood relation or next of kin. It's imperative to know the definition of employer, the employee rights, and how to provide notice to employees. Review these descriptions carefully. FMLA suits are expensive and on average approach $250,000. Some cases have even levied hefty fines against individual supervisors. And because knowledge is key here, it's important that management be absolutely mindful whenever employees talk with them about a need for time off work. Such conversations may provide initial, informal notice of the need for FMLA leave. Employers must capture from the onset these FMLA qualifying events, and within 5 days of receiving an employee's FMLA notice, must distribute to him or her the appropriate FMLA paperwork or risk liability by failing to do so. Use caution when notified of an employee absence from work. Has the employee told a supervisor or indicated in a time off request form that the absence was related to a potential FMLA event? If so, we must act promptly to initiate the FMLA process and submit the leave request form to TASK. Employees should provide notice of any FMLA event 30 days in advance when possible, or at a minimum, within 2 days of the event occurrence to ensure no delay in their protected status. Use caution whenever disciplining employees with FMLA leave in place. FMLA participation does not prevent company policy from applying consistently to employees who are working part of the time. Instead, FMLA provides protection only in regards to that employee's need for time off. Take care to ensure that no employee receives negative action for taking or requesting FMLA leave, including comments from management about dealing with the timeout. No doubt about it, FMLA can be burdensome and challenging. This federal requirement has an annual 12-week limit, as long as the event is recognized and the employee is notified in a timely fashion that the leave time is being counted as FMLA. Submit the events as soon as you are notified for any employee providing notification. Events like an employee's pregnancy are obviously FMLA eligible, as is the case when an employee is hauled away from work in an ambulance. Meanwhile, intermittent time for chronic health conditions are also eligible as protected FMLA absences from work in increments down to an hour. Be aware of employees calling in about leave and volunteering medical information when they do. The contents of such conversations can indicate an FMLA event, as when the employee declares a chronic health condition such as migraines or depression. When there is indication that an FMLA event may be occurring, and before we determine whether the event is or isn't qualified, we must ensure that we are offering the employee FMLA protection. An employee statement such as in the preceding example, in conjunction with the employee absence, would constitute our initial indicator of the need. If you aren't sure, but have some indication, submit the event to offer the FMLA benefit. All employees seeking FMLA leave must provide medical or other documentation to allow for validation of the event as being qualified or not, so there is no negative impact to the employee in offering protection. Keep in mind, short-term disability leaves and workers' compensation leaves are often indicators of FMLA qualifying events, during which an employee is unable to work due to their own serious health condition. Ensure timely notification from employees when events are identified. Avoid having to go backwards with FMLA protection because no notice was provided. Failure to provide timely notice may result in the denial or delay of FMLA leave protection. Simply declaring a need to take sick or PTO time does not provide adequate information to trigger the FMLA process. Conversely, by explaining that a sick day will be used to care for his or her mother in the hospital, the employee has provided enough information to trigger initiation of FMLA. Any employee with an approved FMLA in place must report these absences, just as the organization's other employees must report absences. In addition, the company call-in policy must apply to all employees, no matter the type of leave the employee is taking. Once the leave is official, FMLA-approved employees should reference FMLA by name when calling in. And employers are wise to remind affected employees to state FMLA when calling in to ensure continued protected status for an absence as applicable. Thank you for listening to this presentation. To access your leave request form, please view our video about how to log in to your Task FMLA account. Anytime you have questions regarding FMLA, please contact us. We're always happy to help.